Hello, everyone. Welcome to Manjiri Monologues, my FBLive session. It's my sixth session, and I can't tell you, I'm so happy to be here. Actually, when I started these sessions, I thought I'd take one session with, one book each. I wasn't sure of the kind of response I would get, but I have to tell you, I was so pleasantly surprised. I'm loving the response. I'm loving the feedback, the way, people are trying to answer questions and winning books. So it's been a great 5 sessions, and I'm hoping the sixth session would be good too. So, well, today is a beautiful day in Pune. It's raining very nicely. It's beautiful. The weather's good. All my dogs are, in sheltering in some place or the other. They're all safe and sound, and everyone's good. And it's a nice day, and I'm feeling good. So I'm hoping it's going to be a great session. So before I start the session, I have to announce the winner of last week's question. The question was from the book Voice of the Runes. The question was, what gift did Maddie give Ray towards the end of the book? Well, the answer is only one person got it right, unfortunately. The answer is it was an amulet with Thor's hammer engraved on it. Well, the winner is Hema Meyer Sood. Congratulations, Hema. I will be sending you a signed copy of Voice of the Runes soon. Well, so today's book is Mystery at Malabar Cottage. I'm going to show you the book. Here is the book. Okay, no reflections, yeah. So this is the book. It's my first official children's book. And well, you can see there is, it's going to be a fun book. And there is a reason why I wrote this book, and I'll come to that. So before that, I'm going to read the blurb just to give you an idea of what the book is about. So if there are any children watching or their parents watching, you will understand what the book is about, and if you will know if you want to read it. So Smuggler's Den and Pilot Eye, Thrills, Caves, and a Suspicious Guy. When the spunky cousins Sam, Paras, Tina, and Fulki arrive at the 200-year-old Malabar Cottage to spend their summer holidays, all they dream of is having fun. But Fulki stares into her crystal ball and predicts strange happenings. Her cousins make fun of her until suddenly mysterious incidents take place. Threatening notes, light signals in the night, the theft of scientist Sagar's important documents. What exactly was happening at Malabar Cottage? Did the tunnel under the sea really exist? Could the children find the truth behind the mysterious incidents? Amidst suspicion and startling discoveries, the spunky cousins solve the mystery at Malabar Cottage. Well, it's a book published by Readermania. It's going to be a series, and it's the first book in the series. So when we were children, when I was a child, I was addicted to reading Enid Blyton books completely. I mean, they were like my should I say, I was more friendly with Enid Blyton books than with actual children. I was so hooked on to her books. And there was something, hi Muna, hi Shobha, hi Mama, hi Sonia. I was crazy about reading, and I used to read whenever and wherever I could. So even at the dining table or in the bus to school, even during lunch hours and all, my books to always be open in front of me. And I have to give credit to Enid Blyton to really instill this love and pleasure of reading in me. It was because of her books that I loved reading. I loved writing, and I love this whole process of creating different worlds different from where I live. So that's how I realized that I wanted to be a writer, and I knew that I wanted to create these kind of beautiful worlds, fun-filled, adventure-filled worlds where everything ends really nicely in the end. It's all tied up nicely, and all's well that ends well. These are worlds which are motivational for me, and I realized that I wanted to have these worlds for other children too. So while I was writing adult books, I realized that it was time that I now ventured into children writing, which was actually my first love. So Enid Blyton was, of course, hi, Mr. Mathur. Enid Blyton was one of the reasons, of course, that I came into writing. But as children, like my siblings and I, my sisters and my brother and my mom, we were all very close, and we were so affected by all these books and the Secret Seven and Famous Five and Five Fine Daughters that we had our own club. So we had this real close knit family club, and it was called the Golden Eagle Club. And we used to actually go out on the street and try to solve mysteries. And yes, we've chased suspicious looking men on our bikes. And that time Pune was almost like empty compared to now. So we could ride with bikes on the streets and follow people. And of course, we didn't do anything really wrong and drastically wrong, but we had real fun. And we also used to go, we used to have lots of treasure hunts. So my mom used to hide something in some place, like for example, Pune University, and then lay out these clues in the form of twigs and markings on the branches of trees or on the stones, or there would be signs in the middle of the street. Or she used to really go all out to create hi Hema, hi Rujita. She used to go all out to create this fun trail for us. And then we used to all set out and try to find this treasure hidden in some part of Pune. So this whole love for mystery and adventure was instilled in me right from my childhood, and it was but natural that I would like to transfer this love and mystery to children. So one of the reasons why I really ventured into children fiction was because when I grew up and I was reading Enid Blyton books, there was a little bit of how should I say, disparison between what I read and what I saw outside. For example, I was reading about the English countryside and rowing and eating scones and drinking lemonade, having picnics. And then when I used to emerge from the books and look at my surrounding atmosphere, there was a huge difference, like streets and traffic and the Indian milieu, which somehow did not match with what I was reading. But I was completely influenced by the books. So I think within me, there was a kind of a mix up, I would say, not an identity mix up, that's too big a word, but a kind of a mix up of my external world and my inner book world. And as I realized, I think that kind of affected me in a way, because I wasn't sure what I wanted to write about, because I was so close to all these books, and I realized that I wasn't really connected to the reality that was India, or reality of my familiar surroundings. And there was a discord between what I was reading and what I could see around. And I think one of the reasons why I wanted to write these mystery and adventure books were because I wanted to create the similar magic as in Enid Blyton books, but in the Indian soil. Because what would happen then was that children growing up reading these books for the sheer pleasure of it would really identify with what is happening around them, and there wouldn't be a discord. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to write children books. Secondly, I wanted to write pure entertaining books. There's a lot being written for children. I'm not saying that there's not, but a lot of what I'm reading nowadays or seeing nowadays is a lot of education in the guise of fiction, or education in the guise of entertainment. I want to give pure entertaining books that are fun, that children would love reading, and in the process would love reading, in terms of being attracted to reading. And I think this is my whole exercise in writing Mystery at Malabar Cottage, or my next forthcoming book, which is Adventures of Mithu, so which is about a magical kitten, and that should be out soon too. So my whole intention is to gear children towards reading, towards going outdoors, enjoying nature, spending time with family. Like they're spunky cousins. They're not friends, which means cousins go out together somewhere and solve a mystery. So it is very important that you connect with your own brothers and sisters and spend time with them. I know that this is an age where friends are more important than family, but ultimately I think family is very important, and I do want that message to go through in that. Secondly, through my books, I've always done this. There is equality of sexes. For example, boys and girls are not boys and girls, but beings. So you will see Sam, who makes sandwiches, wants to be a chef when he grows up, and he doesn't mind cooking. He loves it, in fact. Then there's Tina, who really solves the mysteries, and Fulki, who loves to read crystal balls and has a new hobby every year. So the children are more equal in every sense of the word, and I want to bring that message out to parents and to teachers, to treat children equally. Boys today should definitely know how to cook. They have to grow up to be independent. I hope they get good wives and good and of course their mothers will look after them, but seriously, I think whether they have good mothers and wives and sisters or not, they need to look after themselves. And similarly, girls do need to be independent and they need to look after themselves. They don't need to have a guy in their lives to really achieve something in life or to do anything in life. They should have the confidence within themselves to set out and do what they want. So they have to grow up to be beings and not boys and girls. And that is what I want to bring out through my entertainment mystery adventures. So that is it. I'm going to read a small extract which kind of demonstrates this, where they're going to the island now. And so just a little bit to give you an idea of how the story unfolds. After lunch, Samir insisted on making the sandwiches himself, much to Panna's amazement. She watched him as he deftly applied layers of homemade white butter, mango pickles, and tomatoes and cucumbers to the slices. He offered Panna a sandwich and was thrilled when she exclaimed at the taste. Then, feeling extremely satisfied, he raced to the beach while the girls helped Panna pack the picnic snacks: sandwiches, chocolate cakes, coconut burfi, and a big bottle of mango juice, along with some fresh mangoes too. The basket was overflowing as the girls carried it between them to the deserted cove. The boys had already pulled out the boat. Goodbye and enjoy your picnic. Viju gave a small smile as they all got into the boat, placing the basket between their feet. Be careful when you approach the island. There are many rocks around you and you could graze the boat. Don't worry, we'll be careful, Samir promised. He and Viju pushed the boat into the water. Then Samir jumped in and took the oar. They waved to Viju as the boat glided smoothly into the sea. Ruffy watched his master on the shore and gave a few wistful barks. Don't look so sad, Ruffy dear. You're going to meet him in a few hours from now. Fulki patted him fondly. Samir and Paras rowed strongly and steadily, and the boat moved effortlessly in the water. It was hot, and the children were glad they were wearing caps. The wind fanned and cooled their red faces. Fulki ran her hand through the water. This was fun. They had never had such lovely holidays before. Swimming, boating, exploring, picnicking, and lazing around. And what could possibly be more exciting than secret passages? Mamma had been right when she had said that this was the right place for their holidays. Let me take the oar, Paras. I'd like to try my hand at it, Tina suggested, and her brother readily relinquished his oar to her. But when Fulki suggested the same idea, Samir seemed a little doubtful. Are you sure you can? I mean, it's tough and. Samir, give her the oar, Tina remarked patiently, and Samir grinned. He loved to pull his younger sister's leg. The girls proved to be good rowers, and the boys were glad to rest their arms. Ruffy was as excited as the children, and he moved restlessly in the small space. The boat rocked unsteadily, and finally Samir had to hold him firmly by the collar. The island was slowly becoming gigantic in size. The sound of birds reached their ears as they drew closer and closer. Remembering Viju's warning, the boys took over the oars, carefully avoiding the rocks. They skillfully maneuvered the boat, keeping a sharp look for the cove. Hi, Shraddha. So this was just to give you a glimpse of the kind of adventures they have, and when they go there, well, of course, they're going to discover things, and it's a fun story, and there is a very important role given to a dog in it. Like you may be knowing, like in my Cosmic Clues, there's a cat who plays an important role. In this book, there's Ruffy the dog. In the Adventures of Mitu, there's going to be kitten called Mitu, who's magical. So I love to have animals as a part of the lives of children, because it's really important for children to grow up with animals, because then that way they know how to take responsibility, they know how to coexist in harmony, and lots of advantages of having animals around them. Today I'm going to be expecting my literary agent, Suhail Mathur. He's going to be here any minute now, and I expect him to join me in a few minutes. But I just want to say a few things about Suhail before he joins. I met him. Hi, Suhail. I'm expecting you to join me. I want to say a few things about him. I met him some years ago when I was going through a kind of, how should I say, I was a little flummoxed because I couldn't seem to find a right agent to to kind of pitch my books, and there were lots of things happening, and I didn't know whom to look for. And then I met this. I met him twice. Once I met him. I'm going to ask him this question. So Suhail, don't listen. I met him on a train journey where we started chatting, and we were going to a lit fest, or rather, we were coming back from the lit fest, and we started chatting. And he was this young boy. Talking in a very grown-up manner, and I just looked at him and his enthusiasm and the way he had plans and everything, and I said, I want to have him as my literary agent. It was a very good decision, because then he got me my first book deal with Bloomsbury, which was the Trailer 4, and I had pitched Trailer 4 to a lot of publishers. No one wanted it, but Suhail did it. So I'm just going to add Suhail on now. And okay. Hi there. Hi, Suhail.
Hi.
I
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you, Suhail?
Very well, very well. Sorry, I just got a little delayed by a few seconds. I was so engrossed in reading, this wonderful book, Mystery of the
Okay,
Malabar Cottage. So you have to
that's
pardon me
great.
for that.
You will have to now give it to your daughter to read
I
very
will, I
soon.
will, I will. No, I think this is
Yeah.
such an interesting book. I was telling Sumedha today that the book is so interesting that it traverses all age groups, and anyone right from a child to a young adult to a teenager to even an adult, they would absolutely love reading this book. That goes for all your books, but I just feel that these type of books really strike a chord with me. So yeah, it's one of my most favorite. So
Thank
certainly,
you.
yeah, congratulations on
Thanks,
that.
Suhail. Yes, thank you very much. And I have some questions for you, and I'm going to shoot right away. So let's talk a little bit about you. Uh, Suhail, world over, literary agents are a very big thing, very huge thing. And I remember when I started writing, there were just no literary agents in India at all. I had even today, writers pitch directly to publishers, and
Correct.
you were one of the beginners to start a literary agency called the Book Bakers. So. Two things: what really made you start begin a literary agency, and two, what does it mean to really be an agent in India today?
Okay, so basically we started the literary agency in late 2013, and the crux or the reason why we started the literary agency was because when I was writing my first book, The Bear of Putras, it had released. It released eventually a few months later, and it did very well. I got in touch with a lot of authors, who were also writing their first book or had just finished writing their debut novels, and the general idea that I got was that the market wasn't very conducive for young authors or first time authors, so to say. In fact, the first time authors who were probably getting an opportunity were those who were from another field and were now writing a book, so say a memoir or an autobiography, those kind of things. So the idea was to nurture and encourage new talent, which I felt was missing at that point of time. And I'm happy that through the course of the good work that we did as of now, in this 6 to 7 year span, we have represented more than 650 authors. So
Wow.
I'm happy that we started that, and we have been able to focus very successfully. And I remember mentioning this at the launch of Revolt of the Limbran as well, that you were the first big best-selling author that we signed. So I'm extremely grateful and indebted to you for showing the kind of faith and support that you have
Thank you
shown
to
to
you.
us. No, I think it's really I'm very grateful, because I think you and Mr. Vineet Bansal were the two people who really showed a lot of support and encouraged us, and that's how it happens when one person joins in and gives. So see, I always believe that a literary agent's works predominantly on word of mouth publicity, right? So the thing is that it's not about how you perform one job, but if you do a good job over and over again, then more and more people will talk about you, and one talks to another, so on and so forth. So I'm happy that you've been that beacon of light in the literary agent, the Book Bakers Literary Agency's journey, and we're immensely grateful for the same.
Thank you. And I'm grateful to you because you've pitched my books to good people at good
Yeah,
contracts. And, it's very important for a writer to keep writing.
of
And
course.
it's quite a process to find a publisher. And thank you so
Quite a
much
problem.
to you too.
But over there, what I'd also like to add is I just love the way that you two have, uh, you know, uh, gone into different genres, different dimensions. I know there is one genre I keep on pushing you towards, which you are yet to go to,
I know.
Yeah, but there are so many others. I mean, you started off with a murder mystery, which had astrology in it. Then you've moved
Yeah,
to international destination thrillers. You've done
yeah,
a fantasy sci-fi book. You've
yeah,
written for children. You've done a young adult book in the
yeah.
interim, and now you're doing a non-fiction book based on, dogs and
Dogs.
how one should look after them and how they are, man's best friend in more ways than one. So I think that also speaks volumes because a writer or an author in India will only go as far till such time that they can adapt to the market. The market is changing every few months. I mean, what better an example than the present day scenario? I mean, a few months prior, nobody expected this to happen. But since that has happened, people are evolving. So evolution is a continuous process. And as I said, that kudos to you for doing that so seamlessly, which is so important.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you're always there to encourage me too and push me into a direction which I'm still, like you said, not ready to go, but we'll do it too. We'll do it one day.
Yes, we will for sure,
So,
for sure.
so Suhel, do you remember when, where, how you first met me?
Yes, I do remember, and I
Mm.
most, more than the meeting, I remember the conversation that we had at the Pune International Literature Festival, one of
Mm.
India's best and biggest literary festivals, where you, me, Sumedha, and Dipankar were sitting late at night, and the meeting was, of course, at Lito Fest, right, where we had met for the first time. And as
Yeah.
you mentioned that I was a child in adult's clothes, as you
I
famously
went to
quoted
the
back
best.
then.
I
Yeah.
had a glass of wine. I had a glass of wine, and even a sip of wine gets me intoxicated. So you remember what a glass of wine can do. So I may have
Yeah.
said certain things. So
No,
possible.
no, it was quite nice. But yeah, but I think more than that, it was our journey. The train journey that we had during the Kumaon Literature Festival, where we actually got to speak a lot,
Yeah,
interact a lot, and that's where ideas were exchanged. And from there,
yeah,
it's been a journey that's been highly successful,
yeah.
and I truly value the relationship.
Yes, I agree. I think that train journey really changed my life too because it was really. I remember I was sitting in one place and you were sitting somewhere else,
Yeah.
and the seat beside you was empty. And I think you invited me or I came. I don't remember that, but we just got chatting, and that entire 3 hours, I think that 4 hour journey, we were talking so much about
Correct.
the literary world, and yeah, that was a very interesting journey and a decisive moment for me.
Yeah,
Decisive
yeah,
four
yeah.
hours.
So I think that train journey brought our journey on the correct track.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so now you have a proper job, right? You work in a which
Media
where
channel,
do you
yeah.
work? Yeah, exactly.
Media
Then
channel.
you yeah, then you are an agent, so you run your own literary agency. You are an author yourself. You are a son. You're a husband, and now you're a father. Okay,
Yeah.
so you've got these multiple roles. How do you find time for all of them, and how do you do justice to each role?
So basically, what I did was I contacted a friend in China, asked him to create the virus so that the wife, daughter, and the work could all come at home. So
Okay,
that's the best. No, but
good,
that
good.
was of course on a lighter note. But the thing is that if you have the inclination and the will and desire, you'll find time. And I find
Yeah,
time, because prior to all the things that you mentioned, all the things, when I say all the things, I mean the agency work and the media work.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I was working with one of India's topmost law firms as a hotshot corporate lawyer. But
Mm,
what happened was the difference was that that seemed like work. Uh,
mm.
I may be putting in more hours than I was putting in there, which is saying a lot. But the point is that this does not feel like work.
Work it all.
It's
Yeah,
enjoyable.
yeah.
Both the activities are cultural in nature. You have to think, it's creative. The excitement of receiving a new email with a new manuscript is unparalleled. So whatever be the time, I always want to read the synopsis and see how the story is or who the author is. So till such time that you have that energy and excitement, I think you will be in a happy space.
Right.
Of
Yeah,
course,
but
the
now,
lockdown has also helped spending
yeah.
time with my daughter because since the
Yes.
time she
Yeah.
was born, I haven't been to office, so I'm working from home. Yeah, but it's good. It's good. You get to spend time with the family. Although my wife always has an issue. She's always saying that you used to spend as much time when you used to go to office as you're spending now, because I'm all the time busy on my phone calls and
Phone.
writing emails, so on and so forth. But yeah,
I
can't
know.
help it.
But 650 authors is huge. So, how much time, I mean, can you give her ultimately? I think that's important. The authors
Yeah,
need you. I'm sorry,
of course,
Sumedha. The
of
authors
course.
need him. Okay, I'm being selfish, but anyway. So, I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions, quick ones.
Sure,
Okay. In
sure.
all these roles that I've just mentioned, which is the best role that you like?
Actually, the parameter to judge that would be to ask those people what they
Okay.
feel is my best role. But
Yeah.
I would probably say, if I had to choose, uh, you know, I think son, agent, husband, all I like all those three. I feel that I'm good in all those. But I would still say maybe son and agent, because those are the things that I've been doing for the longest time. I mean, I've been a son since I was born.
Yeah.
I've been an agent since the past 7 years, husband since the past four, and father since the past six
Very
months.
young father.
So,
You're a young father. Yeah, you're a young father. And the best
so that
years are yet to come. That's why the best years have to come with your daughter.
correct,
And then you're going
absolutely,
to say, "I'm the best role is my being a father for sure," because a
absolutely,
daughter
yeah,
is a daughter.
absolutely, that's true.
Yes. Okay. So, best deal that you've got money wise, which is the
Money wise,
best deal?
okay. Interesting. So I'll tell you very honestly, I never look at a deal, in terms of money. Honestly, I don't, because that is not my yardstick to judge a book's success. Uh, for me, book success is always on the basis of the story, and how it performs. Why I'm mentioning this is now because when you're talking about monetary deals, it's not just limited to the book anymore, or the publisher anymore, with the inflow of OTT platforms and production houses acquiring books. We've sold so many in the recent past, of course. Like the you know publishing world, there is a slight push towards non-fiction over there too.
Mm,
But
yeah.
so there have been many books in that space. So I think there are four or five who would have a similar amount. But then why I don't want to mention them is because that's not my criteria of judging how successfully a book has done. Money is always secondary for me.
Yeah, but for the authors, it's important.
Of
A
course,
good
it is
deal,
important. It is important.
especially
I just said
if that's the only
secondary.
income.
I just said
Yeah.
secondary. I didn't say not important.
Yes. Okay. Okay. You don't want to tell. I get it. Okay. The most satisfactory deal.
Most satisfactory deal. Okay,
Mm,
honestly, again, all the deals that I get are satisfactory for me, simply because I do not differentiate, on any book, that okay, this is a first time author, so I'll get him XYZ deal and I'll be happy
mm,
with that.
mm.
Or this is, an A-list author, I have to get this. So all the book deals that I get, you know, I am probably happier than my authors in at least most, if not all cases. And
Yeah.
Sumedha would certainly agree to the same, because the moment I receive that mail, or a call from the publisher
Yeah.
that this book has been selected, so I'm really happy, because I maintain a list of books that I've successfully pitched that particular year. So that folder
Mm.
goes into the successful books folder. So that is something that gives me a high. Having said that, in terms of satisfaction, probably some of the books, as I said, story is paramount. So, two or three books that I would like to mention over here are books that probably have excellent stories, which maybe the Indian readers may not have got to know in depth had the book not come out. So, one of the books that I'd like to mention is, Miracle Men, which has been written by Nikhil Naz. It's the behind the scenes story of the 1983 Cricket World Cup. So
Mhm.
we all know about the World Cup, but nobody knows how this team went, what were the circumstances in which this team was selected. So I feel that's one. The other one is 21 Kesaris, written by Kiran Nirwan. That's a non-fiction book on the Battle of Saragadi. So,
Mm.
how it happened, who these people were. The book has photographs, the map, the background situation. And there's another book that hasn't yet come out, but, that book has been authored by Sana Munir from Pakistan, and she has actually gone to all the places in Pakistan that were earlier part of India, and clicked photographs and put trivia, next to it. So the place where Bhagat Singh killed Saunders, or the college from where Devanand, graduated, or the house where
Mm.
the Kapoor
So
stayed,
interesting. Yeah.
or the place where
Interesting.
Alauddin Khilji entered India. So those kind of things are there, and I just feel that as a proud Indian, those are the kind of books that you truly value because
Okay.
they will stand the test of time. The Kargil Girl was one we did
Mhm.
very recently. The book, which is
Yes.
all based on
Yes.
fact, and of course the Gunning for the Godman. Of course, my dad has co-authored. That's a special book. But as a story, also, it's a very interesting story where the cop himself is narrated it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so those kind
So
of
you so you mentioned all non-fiction books. Would you say that it is easier to pitch non-fiction books than fiction books because the market out there is for non-fiction books and not fiction books?
Absolutely, it is easier. I won't say it's simple. It's easier. See, as if you ask me personally, I always value fiction books more than
Mhm.
non-fiction. Why? Because I always believe. See, I'm also a fiction writer myself, right? So I feel that how do you define an author? So an author is defined by the writing and the story. So 50% is the writing, 50% is the story. In a non-fiction book, the story is already there. So
Mm.
it removes 50% of your goal. But at the end of the day, it's also a very commercial world, as you had rightly mentioned. And at the end of the day, if we are picking up a book, then it's both necessary and imperative that we get them a deal. So
Yeah.
non-fiction books are ruling the roost. I'm sure this is a continuously evolving market. Saturation will come at some point of time, and
Mm.
then again fiction books will be back in demand. So it's not as if fiction books are not in demand. Why bigger publishers are probably focusing on non-fiction is because it's an easier sell. So
Yeah.
just like we are able to sell it to them, they are able to sell it to the reader, because if you have a title over there called the assassination of Rajiv Gandhi, for example, uh, the reader does not really need to look at the blurb. They know what the book is about, and they can buy it or not buy it, but the decision is made then and there, as opposed to a fiction book where if they like the cover and the title, they'll read the blurb, see the pages, see the MRP, then buy it. So those kind of things. But always in support of fiction. Fiction is
Yeah.
something that is very, very close to my heart.
One of the reasons could also be because nowadays there are more writers than readers, and fiction needs readers, whereas non-fiction is
Absolutely.
so content oriented and it's already there that you need just to transfer the content from the writer's head to the public. I think that's the difference, where content is more of a safer bet today than imagination. I
True,
think
and
that could be
also
one
Manjari,
reason.
what I honestly feel and always feel actually is that Indian authors need to read more Indian authors,
Yeah.
because what I've noticed, you know, largely, and some of my authors give interviews, and they're asked who their favorite authors are, and they gave 4 5 names, and all of them are international names. So international authors. So I always have a chat with them, and I tell them that, look, you are an Indian author, but you're not even referring to one other Indian author who you read or who's your favorite. So if you yourself, being an Indian reader, also don't read other Indian
Yeah.
authors, why do you expect others to read your book? So it has
Yeah.
to be a mutual process, unless and until
Yeah.
everyone supports one another. And
Yeah.
I honestly believe, and I've had a discussion with so many people on this, I genuinely believe that Indian authors are in no way any less than any of the authors across the world. Their
Yeah.
stories are absolutely fantastic, and it's such a pity that in India, what happens is that, though a trend has started where acquisitions are being made for the visual adaptations, but if you
Yeah.
look at the West, you know, most of the spy books, or the spy movies, or the thriller movies, or the espionage movies are all based on books, or most of the fantasy based or the science fiction based movies are all based on books. But over here,
Yeah.
what happens is that you would have even the biggest of production houses saying, oh no, we're not very interested in a historical or a fantasy, the
Yeah.
budget is too
Yeah.
high.
Yeah.
I mean, that is something that needs a change of mindset, because until and unless the mindset doesn't
Right.
change, the situation will not change.
True, I agree completely. And I do think that Indians are really good writers. It's just that we still haven't got over the fact that when it comes to reading, even the lists for that matter, when you see of best books written in the last 50 years, or best women writers, or best whatever, you will never find, Indian authors placed in those international lists, and which is really strange. Or even, that's one section. The other section is the literary and the mainstream. You will not find thriller, mystery books, mythology books in Indian fiction to be read in 50 years. It'll all be literary fiction, so-called literary fiction. So we have these bifurcations and demarcations and divisions even within our own setups. So whether it's reading of foreigners or Indian, or with reading literary or mainstream, and how you look at it, this too much, how should I call it, the outlook of people is very stereotypical towards this whole business of reading. And other than that, I feel like Ruskin Bond said that people who should be reading are also writing. So I think
Yeah.
there's too much written work coming out there. So
I
probably,
mean, at my
yeah,
current residence, I have some
yeah,
250 books with me over here, and
yeah,
all the books are by Indian authors. So I make it a point that I
yeah,
will read
yeah,
Indian authors. It doesn't mean that I'm against international authors, but
yeah,
the point is that you need to support and encourage authors from your own country so that they can reach the world stage. I mean, just your answer just reminded me. I saw the trailer of Death on the Nile recently.
yeah,
Of course, the new one starring Ali Fazal. I've seen the
it's beautiful.
original
Yeah,
one too.
yeah,
Yeah, but authors like yourself need to be celebrated. I mean, I
yeah,
always tell everyone very proudly that on Agatha Christie's 150th birth anniversary celebration, you were the only Indian author who was invited,
yes, yes,
to her place because your
yeah,
style, the
yeah,
estate felt closely mirrored hers. So those are the things that need to come to the fore. And if we don't take pride in our own achievements, then
yeah.
I don't think we are moving in the right direction. So
I agree.
I've already yeah. So I've
Yeah,
already told you about this one good book. Anyone who's seeing this is one good book. You can definitely and you should definitely go in for it. If you like it, then there is this another one that you can go for, also written by Manjiri. You can try that, and if you like that, then you can also go in for this one, which has also been written by Manjiri. I don't have the fourth one with me over here because it's in my Delhi residence. Otherwise, I
it's
would have shown that too.
thank you very
But yeah, that
much.
is how it is.
Thank you so much. Thank you for endorsing all my books. One final question, which, no, two more questions.
Okay,
Tell me a game changer deal that you've done. Totally changed the game.
game changer deal.
Yeah, yes, completely. I mean, it's unlike anything that you've done, or unlike anything anyone has done.
Okay, I'll tell you. There was this book that I did many years ago. It was the autobiography of the great Khali, and it was co-authored by the great Khali and Mr. Vineet Bansal. Now, how that book really helped me, or why I would call it a game changer, is because that really brought me face to face with all the A-list publishers. Because Mr. Bansal had published my first book, The Bear of Putras, so he had that equation with me. So he brought this book and idea to me, and then I took it forward. So that really brought me face to face, and from there it's been a very pleasant journey. In fact, I remember Om Books International, ably headed by Ajay Mago, Mr. Ajay Mago. He called
Mm,
me to his office because he wanted to discuss this book. And even though the book eventually landed with Penguin, what that did was that during that conversation with him, we started talking on a lot of other books, which is where I was writing a book called The Hunt for Rama's Bow, and he heard the concept and he loved it, and then he decided to publish my next book too. And so that book really helped me on two levels: personally as an author and also
yeah.
as a literary agent. So I would say that yes, that's a game changer deal. Another book that I would feel has been a game changer would be the Barabanki Narcos, because what that book has basically done, and also Gunning for the Godman,
Hmm.
because what these two books have basically done
Not
is
not
that,
only because it's written by your dad.
yeah, not only I'll tell
Yeah,
you why.
yeah,
Because what happened was that these two books were sold to production houses, big production houses, and there was widespread interest from various production houses who wanted to acquire it. So how that has helped me is that it has again brought me face to face with a lot of production houses or OTT platforms,
Yeah.
who ask me for material, and as a result of which we've been able to sell several other books, via these two. So
Yeah.
I would say, as far as the game changer, as far as books are concerned, would be this. But the genre that I'm most proud of would be horror. When I started Manjiri, horror was a genre that was at a very nascent stage. In fact, publishers were not even very keen on taking it up. But the kind of work that we have done, in horror, especially in the last 2 to 3 years, has been very commendable. I take great pride in it because we've launched around 8 to 10 authors, right from paranormal investigators like Jay Alani, Sarjeet Mohanty. We're doing a book on Gaurav Tiwari currently. Neil has written quite a few of
Yeah.
them. So yeah, that's a genre that I personally feel we've brought into the fore,
Mm.
in comparison to what it was earlier.
Mm.
So yeah, game
Okay, great.
changers in various aspects. Yeah.
So, okay, so you've done so many deals now. Is there any deal that you feel I wish I had this book in my hand and I wish I could have, dealt with for this book? Is there any such book that you didn't agent?
Honestly, no. Honestly, no.
No?
I just a couple of days ago, I did see Saif Ali Khan make an announcement that he's going to
Yeah.
work with HarperCollins.
Mm.
So that was the only time probably I felt that, oh, I
You
wish
wonder.
I would have. But I think that
Yeah.
was a direct deal that the publishers did with the actor. I'll tell
Yeah.
you very honestly, Manjari, I do not look at absolutely do not look at any other agency's work. What
Mm.
are their what are the deals that they've cracked, or what are the latest updates at their end? I don't look at it for two reasons. Firstly, I'm not competing with them. if i
Mm.
start if I start reading their achievements, I'll be in a bad space, because I'll be, अरे यार इसने ये कर दिया, उसने वो कर दिया.
True.
I don't want to
True.
get into that. I want to focus on my own work, because
Yeah.
those people who have signed up with me have signed up with me for a reason, not with somebody else. So it's important to finish the task at hand. Secondly,
Right.
I believe that, unlike maybe other industries, poaching isn't that rampant. So that's something that I do not personally believe in. So,
Mm.
if somebody has gone with a particular agency, then great. I mean, that's their call. So I can't change that. What I can really do is get the best available deals for my authors. So I don't look into it. And I think that helps me stay in a positive space, very
Yeah.
honestly. So there is no deal that I feel
You
I
could have
should have
done.
got,
Yeah.
but I genuinely feel proud of all the deals that I have got, because I believe in the stories.
That's great. That's great. So,
Very
in any
honest.
of
I
the
mean, probably boring answers, I know,
no,
and
no,
I
no,
know
not
it.
at all. No, it's all right. It's fine if you're
Because
proud of your work.
Abhishek Bachchan is my favorite actor, and although he speaks really well, some of his answers I just feel are a bit boring, because when somebody asks him which is his favorite performance of his, he gives responses like,
Guru,
my dad said
Guru.
your last performance should be your best. So that's how it is, instead of really giving a clear cut answer. But this is how I genuinely feel. So I'm not faking it, and I'm not making it up.
No,
So yeah,
I think you're not faking it, and you genuinely mean it, because I am very proud of you too, and I think you've done a great job. And for your age and for your maturity and the kind of should a spectrum of books that you've covered, the range that you have covered of authors from debut to the topmost authors, from celebrities to people who aspiring celebrities, you've done a great job, and I am also very proud of you. So
thank you.
your answers are not boring. I'm happy that you're confident, and I'm happy that you are going to grow bigger and bigger. Last
Thank you.
question: what would you advise anyone who wants to pitch a book to you? Any of the authors who are listening, or anybody who's going to listen later, aspiring authors, established authors, whoever wants to approach you, what should they pitch to you? I mean, how should they pitch to you?
So how there are two ways. Either you could obviously contact Miss Manjri Prabhu, and she will connect me via her,
Okay,
or you could write into me directly at the
that's better.
bookbakers at gmail.com, which is the book BAKERS, the bookbakers at
That's good.
gmail.com. You could send the first two chapters, a synopsis, an author bio, and let me know the total word count, and I'll get
Okay.
back to you at the earliest.
Yes, I know that you reply very quickly, so I can also assure you that you respond quickly.
Yes, I try
So
to. I try to, because I respond to all mails personally.
Yeah.
So sometimes, I have these so I'll tell you a very funny thing. Okay.
Okay.
There was this author, he wrote a mail to me, and what happened was that I respond to all my emails from the last to the first,
Hmm.
irrespective of however urgent or important it may be. My dad keeps on telling me that, Sway, you should respond based on the urgency. But then I
Hmm.
always tell him that because I look at all my books equally, I respond from last to first so that I do not miss out on any email. Right. So what happened was that, this gentleman, probably there were, say, I'll just give you an example. So there were 187 emails that were pending and I was
Wow.
responding to it. And his
Okay.
email might have been 181 on that list. And he wrote back saying, "Hi, any update?" So
Hmm.
what that does is that takes his mail right from 181 to number one. Okay.
Yes.
So then I have
Yeah.
to respond to 187. And I did that. And in the interim, when I was just going to respond, he wrote, "Hey, I've been trying to reach out. You're not responding." And again, his mail moved 100 places. So then I had to call him up, say, "Look, look, look, this is how.
Wait.
Please wait. Please wait. I will respond to you on the same thread, because the moment you do that, the mail goes several places higher." So yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So,
sad.
any plans of going international? Because I know that you're kind of pretty settled with the Indian market, but
I
I
want
am
to.
personally pursuing you to go internationally. Yeah.
Manjri, a couple of things that just like so I'll tell you what, I don't have a problem going international, and that is something that we would like to do also, because it's always great to expand. But, what I have noticed is, and that's a problem actually in India also for other authors who are not from India or NRIs, when we pitch, an international author's book to an Indian publisher, and that's purely NRIs. Um, the publishers always want to know what is the kind of marketing that the author could do, or is there a
Mm,
marketing budget that they have,
mm,
or will they
mm,
be able to come to the country and promote the book, because
mm.
they'll not be in India when the book
That's
releases.
true.
So they're
Yeah.
they're a little skeptical, right?
Mm,
And similarly, when we send out a book to an international publisher, those are
mm,
precisely the same questions they ask. So there was a publishing
mm,
house, a kids and YA publishing house,
mm,
in USA, and we sent out three of our books, and they liked all three. But
mm.
unfortunately, none of them was signed, because the publisher said, "Will these authors be able to come to the USA and go to various cities and states to promote it?" And
You're
therein
right.
lies the problem. And
Mm,
also the other problem also is that, see, most of the Indian authors who are being published abroad stay abroad. So
mm.
they've been staying in that country, so
I know. So
they
it's easier.
circumvent
Yeah.
they circumvent this problem of promoting the book
Yeah.
in that particular
Yeah.
region
True.
seamlessly. The
Yeah.
other thing that also happens is that, if you are writing a book that is set not in India, or does
Mm,
not have Indian characters, then it's a difficult market in India, because
mm,
Indian
mm.
publishers need uh, you
Yeah.
know that setting. And that my first experience of that was
The trailer
with
for.
Trailer 4. Yeah,
Yeah. Trailer
because
for. Yeah.
until that time, I honestly believe that a book is a book and a story is a story. So
Yeah.
read it. But that
Yeah.
that that was a learning curve.
Yeah.
Similarly, when we send out an Indian book to other publishers, those are the similar concerns that they have.
Yeah.
And there have been authors who reach out to me saying that, but see, Khalid Hosseini wrote XYZ, and it doesn't have Indian characters or a setting, but it's still selling in India. So I tell them that yes, but the book was first brought out in his own country, right?
Right.
So because the book was a superlative success over there, which
Yeah.
is why now it has come to another country. So if your book
Yeah.
really becomes super hit, the
Yeah.
publishers would want to do international rights and take it forward from there. So it's all a
Yeah.
process.
And also, it brings us back in a circle to to the fact that Indians still read non-Indian authors more. So even if he was published there and his
Absolutely.
book comes here, it's read because he's non-Indian. Very simple. So
Probably, probably.
so
I think also,
yeah,
I personally feel this. I could be wrong, but I've generally noticed, not just as far as books, but sometimes Indians just find it cool to refer to certain names to sound
yeah,
more
yes,
intellectual, or more in the zone, so to say. Be
yeah,
it a web series, or a
yeah,
movie or a book. That's how
yeah.
it is. But
Dropping names. dropping names. Anyway, so it was a wonderful session, Suhail. I am so glad you came today. Thank you so much. I want to wish you all the best for the biggest
And
role of
before
your
I
life.
go, one
Yeah.
thing I have to
Yes.
tell.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
really enjoyed Smith, and I really enjoyed seeing your web series that you had put out
Okay.
a few days
Oh, the
back.
marriage counselor. The marriage
Yes,
counselor.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Marriage counselor. I mean, I just want to tell everyone, please see it. It's a web series ahead of its time. When I say ahead of its time, because
It is.
you
Yeah.
made this what 10, 13 years
12
ago.
years. 12 years
12
ago.
years
Yes.
ago.
Yeah.
It has a 10, it has 10 parts or so, 3 minutes each.
Yes.
But to think of it at that point of time like that just shows, how ahead of time she was. This is something that we are discussing today, but she went, wrote a script, shot it in that manner. So
Yes.
whenever you can see it, please do yourselves a favor and see the marriage counselor.
Thank you so much, Suhail, and thank you for coming here today. It was great talking to you, and I'm going to wish you all the best for the biggest role of your life, that's being a father, the biggest and most responsible role. And of course, all authors are waiting for you to get back to them. I'm sure your mails, please respond to all of them. And let me say again that I'm very proud of you. You've really
Thank
achieved a
you.
lot.
Thank you so
I have
much.
to congratulate your parents. I know that, especially your dad, because I've met your mom just once, but your dad, I know, kind of supports you head on, and they've really raised a very
Yeah,
good
yeah,
child.
everyone. I'm actually very grateful that everyone in my family supports me. It's very important, that you have
Yes,
your family
it
support.
is. Absolutely.
And
Family
I
is
think
very important.
you are the best person who would understand that, because
Yes,
PILF, which is arguably
yes,
one of India's biggest
yes,
literary festivals, there's
yes,
so much of family over there.
yes.
Your
I wouldn't do it.
web
I
series
wouldn't be able
also,
to do it without my family at all. No
of
PILF, no
course.
no
So
family, no
just
PILF. As good as that.
just
Yeah.
ensure that you never call Kangana on at your literary
On
festival.
nepotism. Well, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
but well, this is hardly qualifies as nepotism, but anyway.
of course, of
Anyway,
course,
good
of course.
good luck, and
All
good
right.
luck.
Thank you.
Okay,
Pleasure interacting with
thanks.
you. Thank you so much. Had a wonderful time.
Yeah,
Bye. Cheers.
yeah.
Take
Bye,
care. Bye.
bye. So that was Suhail Mathur for you. I hope those who were listening got lots and lots of content from that, and those who want to pitch to him, do go ahead and pitch. And I know, I'm sure he'll kind of manage to find a publisher for your book if it's a good book. Anyway, so my question for this session is okay. Mm, Okay, I did answer this question, during the session, in the beginning of the session. So if you were listening or if you were part of that session, then you would know the answer. What is Fulki's hobby in the book? Okay, I'm going to repeat the question. What is Fulki's hobby in the book? Please message me your answers. Don't write them here, because then everybody gets to see them. One lucky winner will get Mystery at Malabar Cottage, and I hope you have a child to read it. But like Suhail said, anyone can read this book. It's not only for children. Thank you so much for being a part of these six session series. I know that officially today is the last session of my schedule, but I think I'm going to come back next Saturday with a very different kind of a session, something very close to my heart. I'm not going to reveal it right now. Please continue to join me every Saturday for a chat. Thank you so much, and bye bye.